What would you do if your blood could command wolves? If one drop could make an alpha king kneel? I never asked for this power. I never wanted to be marked by the moon itself. But when Kael pressed his lips to my wrist beneath that crimson sky, sealing our bond with ancient magic, everything changed. The forest trembled. The ground pulsed with energy I couldn't name. And when dawn broke over the Blackwood, painting the sky the color of fresh blood, I felt it. The pack's fear, their rage, their disbelief. I stood beside Kael as the old wolves circled us, their eyes glowing with judgment. The Alpha's law. One elder growled, his voice like grinding stones. No outsider may command an Alpha's beast. Kael rose to his full height, towering and terrifying. But his hand never left mine. She is mine, he declared, his voice carrying through the trees. By blood and bond, the law protects what is claimed. But I saw the truth in their snarling faces. To them, I wasn't his mate. I was blasphemy wrapped in human skin. Varen stepped from the shadows, his silver eyes burning with hatred. He'd been Kael's brother once. Now, he was something else entirely. Something broken and bitter. The law demands trial, he announced, his voice echoing through the clearing. A blood trial, before moonrise. My stomach twisted. I'd heard whispers of these trials. Wolves fighting with nothing but fang and claw. No mercy, no surrender, only survival. Varen, don't do this, I begged, stepping forward. But Kael pulled me back, his grip gentle despite his strength. This is pack law, Lyra, he said quietly. If I don't face it, they'll tear you apart instead. My throat tightened. Then run. We'll both run. He looked at me with eyes that had seen centuries of war and loss. I've been running for too long. Varen smiled, cold and cruel. Bare-handed combat. You against me. When the sun touches the horizon, the pack erupted in howls, some triumphant, some mournful, all of them hungry for blood. Kael knelt before me, pressing his forehead to mine. Whatever happens, he whispered, you are moonborn. The forest will protect you. They called it the Silver Circle, a ring of ancient stones, each carved with runes that glowed like captured starlight. The pack gathered around it, their bodies forming a living wall. I stood at the edge, my marked palm throbbing with each heartbeat. Kael entered the circle first. He stripped off his shirt, revealing scars that mapped a lifetime of battles. His body was all lean muscle and controlled power, beautiful and terrifying. Varen followed, cracking his knuckles. He was smaller than Kael, but faster. His movements reminded me of a snake. Quick. Lethal. Unpredictable. First blood or death? The elder asked. Death, Varen said without hesitation. Kael said nothing. He simply took his stance, feet planted in the earth. When the elder raised his hand, the air itself seemed to hold its breath. Then he dropped it, and they collided like thunder. Varen struck first, his fist connecting with Kael's jaw. Blood sprayed. The pack roared, but Kael didn't fall. He caught Varen's next punch and twisted, throwing him across the circle. The runes flared brighter with each impact. They fought like the world was ending. Every punch, every kick, every desperate grapple sent shockwaves through the ground. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Could only watch as Kael bled for me. Varen was winning. He moved like water, slipping past Kael's defenses, his claws extended, raking across Kael's chest. Fresh wounds opened. He's dying, someone whispered behind me. The Shadow King is falling. No, the word exploded in my mind. I couldn't watch this. Couldn't stand here while he bled. Without thinking, I screamed his name. Kael. My marked palm flashed white, hot. Pure moonlight erupted from my skin, and Varen flew backward as if struck by an invisible fist. He crashed into the stones, gasping. The pack fell silent. Every eye turned to me. Horror, awe, fear. Kael stared at his hands, then at me. What did you do? Varen choked, struggling to rise. The elder stepped forward, his face carved from ancient fury. Impossible, he breathed. No human should wield the Alpha's bond, but I just did, and they all saw it. The pack council gathered beneath the bonfires. 5 elders, each older than the trees themselves. Their faces were masks of stone and judgment. "The Alpha's law is clear," the eldest declared, her voice sharp as broken glass. "A human who commands wolf blood must prove she bleeds for it." My legs felt like water. "What does that mean?" Kael moved to stand between us, but two younger wolves held him back. "It means trial," Varen spat, wiping blood from his mouth. "The right of wounds. Let the law expose her for what she is." "She's already proven herself," Kael snarled, struggling against his captors. "She saved my life." "She broke sacred law," the elder countered. "Whether curse or blessing, we must know." They dragged me forward. My heart hammered so hard I thought it would burst. This wasn't supposed to happen. I'd only wanted to help him, to save him. Now I was going to die for it. The elder produced a blade. "Silver and ancient. If your bond is true," she said, "your blood will prove it." She raised the knife, and I closed my eyes. The blade was cold against my palm. I felt it bite deep, splitting skin and flesh. Pain bloomed hot and sharp, but I didn't scream. I wouldn't give them that satisfaction. My blood welled up, dark and thick. It dripped onto the soil at my feet, and then everything changed. The drops didn't spread like normal blood. They glowed, pure white light, bright as the full moon. Where they touched the earth, moonflowers erupted. Tiny white blossoms, each one perfect and impossible. The pack recoiled. Some fell to their knees. Even the elders stepped back, their faces twisted with shock. "Moonborn," someone whispered. Then, louder, "She's moonborn." My wound wasn't bleeding anymore. It was leaking pure light, spilling down my arm in silver rivers. The forest answered. Trees bent toward me. The wind carried my scent like a prayer. And Kael, still held by those wolves, was staring at me like he'd never seen me before. Like I was something holy, something terrifying, something that might save or destroy them all. The elder dropped the knife. "The goddess has spoken." Miles away, in the ruins of the Silver Bridge, Inquisitor Male knelt among the dead. His white uniform was spotless despite the carnage around him. Precise, cold, inhuman. He lifted a chunk of melted silver, studying how the metal had been warped by impossible heat. "She was here," he said to the mechanical hound beside him. Its brass gears clicked and whirred. "The Moonborn." His lieutenant approached, holding a charred piece of fabric. "The Shadow King travels with her. Our sources confirm it." Male's eyes were the pale blue of winter ice, emotionless, empty. "Then we know where they're headed. The Blackwood." He stood, brushing ash from his knees. The hound growled, smoke rising from its metal throat. "Prepare the skyships." Male commanded. "Arm every soldier with silver fire." If the prophecy is true, if she truly is the reborn Luna, then she must die before she awakens fully. His hand rested on the moon-steel arrow at his hip, forged from a fallen star. "Blessed by priests, designed to kill gods. The Order has waited centuries for this," he whispered. "We will not fail." The bonfires burned higher than houses. Ancient femurs and skulls stacked like timber, crackling with blue-white flames. The entire pack gathered around them. Some knelt before me. Others glared with open hatred. Kael stood beside me, his presence the only thing keeping me steady. "She commands the Alpha." An old wolf accused, pointing a gnarled finger. "She breaks the natural order." "The natural order broke when the gods chained us," another countered. "Perhaps she's here to fix it." Arguments erupted. Snarls and growls filled the night. The pack was tearing itself apart over me. Kael raised his hand. Silence fell like a hammer. "Under the Alpha's law," he announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the clearing, "I claim her as my bonded mate. She is pack. She is protected. Anyone who touches her answers to me." The declaration hung in the air, heavy, final, absolute. But Varen laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "You would rewrite law for a human? You would spit on everything our ancestors built?" "I would burn every law to ash," Kael said quietly, "before I let you harm her." That night, sleep came like drowning. I sank into darkness, so complete it had weight and texture. Then I saw her, the moon goddess herself, standing in a mirror made of blood. Her face was beautiful and terrible, ageless and ancient. "He cannot protect you forever," she whispered, her voice echoing in my skull. When his law breaks, mine begins. I tried to speak, but my voice was gone. She smiled, sad, knowing. Inevitable. You were promised to me long before he marked you, child. You are the key that opens chains, the blade that cuts bonds, the blood that remembers. She reached through the mirror. Her fingers brushed my arm where Kael had marked me. The moon symbol flared brighter, burning through my skin. When the time comes, she said, you will choose. His law or mine. His love or my purpose. There is no middle ground. I woke gasping. Sweat soaked my skin, and my arm, the mark Kael had given me, was glowing so bright it lit the entire tent. Outside, wolves howled, not in greeting, in warning. Kael led me through a hidden path, down into the earth itself. Stone steps carved by ancient hands descended into darkness. At the bottom, torches flickered to life as we passed, revealing something impossible. Thronefall Keep. The ruins of his lost citadel. Massive stone walls stretched up into shadow. Carved pillars showed images I couldn't fully process. Wolves and women joined in celestial unions. Stars and moons intertwined with fangs and claws. This is where it all began. Kael said softly. Before the gods grew jealous. Before they chained us to one form or the other. I touched a mural showing a woman with moonlight in her veins standing beside a wolf king. Who was she? The first Luna, he replied. Your predecessor. She bound herself to my ancestor, gave him the power to walk as both man and beast, but the gods saw it as rebellion. My fingers traced the carving. And suddenly I remembered. Not with my mind, with my blood. I'd been here before, in another life, another body. I'd stood in this very spot and made a promise to a wolf king that I still couldn't recall. In the center of the ruined throne room sat an instrument, a harp made entirely of bone, yellowed ribs strung with hair so fine it looked like spider silk. Don't touch it, Kael warned. But my hand was already reaching. The moment my fingers brushed the strings, music erupted, not harsh or jarring, but beautiful, haunting. A melody that made my chest ache with longing for something I'd never known. The notes spiraled up into the darkness, filling the ancient hall. And the pack, still gathered above ground, heard it too. They stopped mid-argument, stopped breathing. Some began to weep. That song, Kael whispered, his voice breaking. It was played at my coronation, 300 years ago. I wasn't playing it. The harp was playing itself, my hand merely guiding its voice. And with each note, I remembered more. Fragments, flashes, a ceremony, a promise, a betrayal. I was there, I breathed. I was there when you became king. Kael's eyes widened. That's impossible. But we both knew it wasn't. Not anymore. I was the Luna, reborn. And my blood remembered everything. Melis found it in the old armory, buried beneath rust and rubble. A sigil, half broken, carved from moonstone. She brought it to the council, her hands shaking. This belonged to the first Luna, she announced. The elders gathered around it, their faces grave. When Melis held it near me, the broken pieces flared to life. White light poured from the cracks, sealing them, making it whole again. The pack drew back in horror and reverence. She's not just marked by the moon. The eldest breathed. She is the Luna, the one the goddess blessed and cursed. The one prophesied to either save or destroy us all. Fear rippled through the gathered wolves. Mothers pulled their children close. Warriors gripped their weapons. Even those who'd sworn loyalty looked uncertain. The prophecy says her awakening will break the chains. Someone said. But it doesn't say whose chains. The gods or ours? Varen's voice cut through the whispers. She'll destroy us all, just like the first Luna destroyed the old kingdom. Kael moved to my side. Then we'll face destruction together. But I saw the doubt in his eyes. The question he couldn't ask. What if they're right? The Silver Order moved like a mechanical plague across the land. 3 skyships, their hulls gleaming with polished steel and silver runes. Below them, mechanical hounds the size of horses stalked through villages, sniffing for traces of moonblood. Inquisitor Male stood at the lead ship's bow, his pale eyes fixed on the dark smudge of forest ahead, the Blackwood, ancient and wild. Forbidden to humans for 1,000 years. The heresy ends tonight. He told his lieutenant. The church has tolerated these beasts for too long, but a moonborn, a Luna reborn, that cannot stand. His hand caressed the moonsteel arrow. It hummed beneath his touch, hungry for divine blood. She is an abomination, he continued, a perversion of the natural order. The gods gave us dominion over beasts, not partnership with them. The skyships descended, casting shadows over the forest canopy. Silver fire weapons charged with holy light. Soldiers checked their armor, whispering prayers. And somewhere in the dark woods below, wolves began to howl, not in fear, in defiance. The war between law and freedom, between chains and wings, was about to begin, and I was standing at its center. Kael gathered the pack in the clearing. His voice was thunder and command. You know what's coming. The order. They've burned villages, slaughtered families, and they're coming for her. He gestured to me. I won't force your loyalty, but I'm asking for it. Not as your alpha, as your brother, as someone who's bled beside you for 3 centuries. He drew a knife, silver, sharp. He dragged it across his palm. Blood welled dark and thick. The alpha's law says, you bleed with me, or you die apart. Choose. One by one, wolves stepped forward. They cut their palms and pressed them to mine. Each touch sent power surging through my veins, a bond deeper than words, stronger than steel. Even some who doubted, who'd feared, they came. They bled, they swore. By the time the moon rose, my hand was slick with mixed blood, pack blood, family blood. And the ground beneath us trembled with ancient magic stirring from its long sleep. They want war, Kael declared, his eyes blazing silver. We'll give them extinction. The bond changed that night. What had been spiritual became physical. I felt Kael's heartbeat in my own chest. Felt his rage when Varen's rebels scattered into the woods. Felt his exhaustion like weights on my shoulders. Can you feel it? I asked him as we stood watch. He nodded. Your fear, your determination, it's like you're inside my skin. When he was cut during a border skirmish, I felt the blade bite my own flesh. When I stumbled over roots, he steadied himself miles away. We were becoming one being in 2 bodies, the pack noticed. They watched us move in perfect sync, watched how we finished each other's sentences, how we turned at the same moment to face the same threat. It's the true bond, Malus explained, what the first Luna had with the first king, before the gods grew jealous and severed it. Can it be broken? I asked. She looked away. Only by death, or betrayal so deep it severs the soul itself. That night, I fell asleep listening to Kael's heartbeat in my ears, and dreamed of chains breaking, of freedom, of falling into light so bright it burned. Betrayal came at dawn. Varen had been gathering the dissenters, wolves who feared change more than death, who clung to old laws like drowning men to driftwood. He poisoned the sacred fire with silver ash. The flames turned black, spewing toxic smoke. Wolves collapsed, choking. He's leading them away, someone shouted. Half the pack is gone. Kael's fury was a physical force. Trees bent, stones cracked. His eyes blazed with light that hurt to look at. Where? He demanded, his voice no longer fully human. To the council. A captured rebel confessed. He's trading the Moonborn for freedom, for amnesty. The words hit me like fists. Varen was selling me, selling us all. For a chance at peace with the very order that wanted us exterminated. Kael didn't speak, didn't rage. He simply shifted. His wolf form erupted from his skin, massive and terrible. Black as midnight, eyes like molten silver, and he ran. I chased him, but even with our bond I couldn't keep up. Behind us, loyal wolves followed. Ahead, somewhere in the dark woods, Varen was about to learn what happens when you betray a Shadow King. They met beneath the full moon. 2 brothers, 2 wolves, 2 visions of what their people should be. The clearing exploded into violence. Kael and Varen collided mid-leap, their bodies crushing saplings. Blood sprayed. Fur flew. The earth itself seemed to scream, "You've doomed us all." Varen snarled, his jaws snapping inches from Kael's throat. For a human, a curse. She's our salvation, Kael roared back, throwing Varen into a boulder. Stone shattered. You're too blind to see it. They fought with centuries of skill. Varen was faster, landing 3 strikes for every one of Kael's, but Kael was stronger. Each of his blows sent shockwaves through the ground. You broke every law. Varen accused, circling. Our ancestors are ashamed. Then I'll write new laws, Kael replied. Laws that don't chain us to fear. The final clash came when Varen lunged for Kael's throat. But Kael was ready. He twisted, caught Varen's neck in his jaws, and squeezed. Bone cracked, blood flowed, and beneath the silver moon, Varen fell. Kael lifted his head and howled. A sound that bound every wolf for miles. A sound that said, I am Alpha. I am law. Follow or fall. The remaining pack gathered in the clearing. Some knelt immediately. Others hesitated. All of them stared at Varen's body with a mixture of grief and relief. Kael shifted back to human form. He was covered in blood. His own. Varen's. The Earth's. The Alpha's law is dead. He declared, his voice carrying to every corner of the forest. Varen died defending laws written in fear, laws that kept us small, kept us chained. He turned to face them all. From this night forward, we forge a new law. Strength is not born in pure blood or ancient lineage. It's born in the bond that endures everything thrown against it. He reached for me. I took his hand, stepping forward. She is moonborn, he continued. She commands the forest itself, and she chose us, chose to bleed with us. Chose to stand when she could have run. The pack was silent, waiting. Anyone who still doubts, Kael said softly, can leave now. No judgment, no shame. But if you stay, you accept the new law. We are not strong because we're pure. We're strong because we're bonded. One by one, they knelt. Even those who'd followed Varen, even those who'd wanted me dead. The forest hummed with approval. I felt it before I understood it. Power rushing through my veins like liquid fire. My vision went white. Memories flooded in. Not mine. Hers. The first Luna's. I saw her standing before the gods. Saw her refuse their command to abandon the wolves. Saw her choose love over divinity. You will be chained, the gods declared. You and your wolves, bound to forms that can never fully merge, never fully free. She'd smiled. Defiant, even in defeat. Then we'll break those chains. My blood will remember. And one day, a Luna will rise who finishes what I started. I was that Luna. The gods had feared the bond between human and wolf. Had feared what we could become together. Unlimited, unchained, divine. The chains will break when the blood remembers, I whispered, repeating her final words. Kael caught me as I collapsed. Lyra, but I was smiling. Because I finally understood. We weren't breaking the gods' laws. We were fulfilling a promise made centuries ago. A promise of freedom. The forest shook with my awakening. And somewhere above, the moon burned brighter than it had in 1,000 years. The white hound's cry split the night. Not a bark, not a howl. Something between machinery and agony. The skyships appeared over the tree line, their searchlights carving through the darkness. Mechanical beasts dropped from their holds, hitting the ground with metallic crashes. The silver order had arrived. Scatter the pack, Kael commanded. Take the young, the old, get them to the deep caves. Warriors rushed to obey, but I stood frozen, staring at the approaching army, silver armor gleaming. Holy symbols burning, weapons designed to kill things like us. You need to run, Kael said, gripping my shoulders. Lyra, please. I looked at him. At the bond we'd forged, at the pack we'd built, at the new law we'd written in blood. If they want the moonborn, I said quietly, they'll find her ready. His eyes widened. You can't face them. You don't know how to fight. No, I agreed. But the forest does, and it answers to me now. I stepped forward, planting my feet. My marked arm blazed with light. Around us, trees began to move. Roots erupted from the soil. The earth itself remembered its rage. The order wanted war. They were about to learn what happens when you threaten something the moon itself protects. The siege began with silver fire. Projectiles arced from the skyships, exploding against the canopy. Trees burst into flames that burned with unholy light. But the forest fought back. Branches became spears, impaling soldiers. Roots became snares, dragging mechanical hounds into the earth. Wolves struck from shadows, their movements coordinated by Kael's howls. I stood at the center, channeling power I barely understood. Every time I raised my hand, silver light erupted. Shields of pure moonlight that deflected the Order's weapons. Walls of thorns that rose to protect fleeing pack members. The White Hound charged me. Massive, unstoppable. Its brass jaws could crush steel, but when it leaped, I didn't move. I just met its eyes. Stop. The word wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of the moon itself. The hound froze mid-air, fell, whimpered, and bowed. Its master, a captain in silver armor, stared in disbelief. Impossible. Nothing's impossible, I said, when you remember who you are. Soldiers fell back. Some dropped their weapons. Others kept firing. But the tide was turning. We were winning. Then I saw him, Inquisitor male, standing at the edge of the chaos, raising a bow, knocking an arrow that glowed like a captured star. Time slowed. I saw the arrow leave the string, saw it arc through the air, trailing light like a comet. Moonsteel, forged to kill gods, forged to kill me. I tried to move, tried to raise a shield, but I was too slow. Too new to this power. The arrow struck my shoulder. Pain exploded through me. Not hot, cold. So cold it burned. Light spilled from the wound, not blood. Pure moonlight, leaking from a hole in my soul. I heard Kael roar. Heard him across the battlefield. Through our bond I felt his terror, his rage, his absolute soul-destroying fear. I fell to my knees. The forest screamed. Trees writhed. The earth cracked open, and Kael transformed. Not into his wolf, into something beyond. Something the world hadn't seen in 1,000 years. Half god, half wolf, wings of smoke and shadow erupting from his back. His size doubled. Tripled. He became a living nightmare of fangs and fury and divine wrath. The Order's soldiers broke. Some ran, some prayed. All of them knew they were going to die. Kael descended on them like the end of the world. Through the haze of pain, I watched him destroy everything. He moved through the Silver Order like death itself. His claws tore through armor. His jaws crushed weapons. His wings scattered soldiers like leaves. The skyships turned their fire on him. It didn't matter. He swatted them from the sky. 2 crashed into the forest. The 3rd fled, trailing smoke. Inquisitor male stood his ground, firing arrows. Each one struck Kael. Each one bounced off harmlessly. "You are abomination," Mael screamed. "You defy the gods' will." Kael's response was a roar that leveled trees for 100 yards. He reached Mael, lifted him by the throat. "You wanted to see a god?" Kael's voice was no longer his own. It was ancient, terrible. "Look at me." But he was losing himself. I could feel it through our bond. The beast was consuming him. The rage was burning away everything that made him Kael. He was becoming pure destruction. "Kael." My voice was weak, broken. But I poured everything I had into it. "Kael, stop." He paused, dropped Mael, turned those burning eyes to me, and for a moment I saw nothing I recognized. "Remember," I whispered, crawling toward him. Each movement sent agony through my shoulder. Light still leaked from the wound. "Remember the new law." He stalked toward me. Massive, terrifying. A god wearing a wolf's skin. "Remember what you said," I continued. My voice was getting stronger. The arrow in my shoulder was starting to burn away. My blood was fighting it. Strength isn't born in pure blood. It's born in the bond that endures. He stopped. Inches away, I reached up with my good hand, touched his muzzle. "Remember us." Something flickered in those eyes. Something human. Something hurting. "The law of the bond," I said, smiling despite the pain. "You and me, together. That's what matters." The transformation reversed. The wings dissolved. The divine fury faded. And suddenly it was just Kael. Naked, bloody, shaking. He collapsed beside me. "I almost lost you." "But you didn't," I said. "We're still here." Around us, the forest settled. Fires died, roots retreated, and in the sudden silence, survivors emerged. Our pack, battered but alive, united. The White Hound approached slowly. Its master, male, lay dead in the dirt, destroyed by his own weapons when the fleeing skyship crashed. The mechanical beast should have attacked. Should have avenged its master. Instead, it knelt before me, lowered its brass head, and whined. Like a puppy seeking approval, I touched it with my good hand. "You're free now," I whispered. It rumbled, not in aggression, in contentment. The order was broken. Their siege ended. Their prophecy of destruction proven false. We'd survived. At dawn, the pack gathered. More than 50 wolves, scarred, exhausted, victorious. Kael stood, pulling me up beside him. The arrow wound had closed, leaving only a silver scar. "The Alpha's law has changed," he declared, his voice carrying through the trees. "From this moment, Lyra doesn't stand behind me or beneath me. She leads beside me." The pack howled their approval. I felt tears on my face, not from pain. From something deeper, from belonging, from purpose, from home. Kael turned to me, his silver eyes soft. "Together?" "Together," I agreed. As the sun rose, painting the Blackwood in gold, the moon goddess's voice whispered through my mind one final time. "Then the war begins." And somewhere distant, I smiled. Let it come. We were ready.